Good morning. I'd like to call to order the New York City Transit Committee. Let's get started with the public safety announcements.
Your safety is of the foremost importance to the MTA. Therefore, we ask that you listen and adhere to the following instructions. If you witness an emergency, notify emergency personnel in the room and call 911 immediately. Please follow any audible instructions provided through the public address system or visually on screens in the event of an emergency. If an alarm sounds, wait for a public address announcement and follow instructions. If told to go to another floor or to evacuate the building, leave all unessential items behind and use stairwell A just across the main hallway or stairwell B down the hallway past the elevators. If you have a mobility disability or cannot self-evacuate, please proceed to stairwell D or E for assistance by MTA staff or emergency personnel. An automated external defibrillator, AED, for use by trained personnel is in the main hallway just past the elevators. If you need assistance during an evacuation, please tell an MTA staff member or emergency personnel. Thank you and have a safe day.
Thank you. Let's move to our public speakers.
Good morning. We have 21 members of the public registered to speak today. We ask that all public speakers adhere to the MTA's rules of conduct and decorum. As a reminder to the public speakers that in the interest of time and fairness to all speakers, we limit everyone to 2 minutes. Please be aware that there will be a warning beep to remind you that you have 30 seconds to conclude your remarks. The first speaker will be Kathleen Collins, followed by Evan Genke.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. My name is Kathleen Collins, and I'm with Disabled in Action. I'm sure you all know me. And today, consistent with the season of the holiday spirit, I am writing my holiday wish list to the MTA. Dear Governor and the Governor, dear Governor Hochul and MTA board members, please make the on-demand e-hail pilot program available to all accessible riders who would like to use it. 2, please eliminate the restrictions on the number of rides a person is allotted to take on the on-demand e-hail pilot project. 3, please increase the amount of the cost the MTA will cover for each trip on the on-demand e-hail pilot program so that more of the city can be reached without the on-demand passenger having to pay significant out-of-pocket costs. We understand that the MTA faces budget constraints just like everyone else. However, the cost of placing more people on the on-demand program is minuscule in comparison to the MTA multi-billion-dollar budget. 4, please make sure that wheelchair securements, seatbelts, and shoulder belts are used for all passengers in wheelchairs, whether they ride in broker service or for hire vehicles in the on-demand pilot project. And finally, please settle the elevator maintenance case. It has been too long, and it is time that it needs to be settled. Thank you, and wishing you all happy holidays and a happy new year.
Thank you. Then our next speaker is Evan Yankee, followed by Christopher Greif.
Good morning and happy holidays. My name is Evan Yankee, and I am the Advocacy Director for Brooklyn Center for Independence of the Disabled, an organization by and for people with disabilities. We are here today because we are excited that as a Christmas gift to us, congestion pricing has been partially restored and will provide some funding for the MTA again. But it will not be a happy holiday unless the 23 proposed subway elevator projects go forward and go forward quickly. Riders with disabilities in the transit system depend on being able to use the system, and we have spent nearly half a year with these projects in limbo. While we are encouraged to hear that these projects will return, we are here today to ask you to implement these projects as quickly as possible so that people with disabilities can benefit from our transit system. In addition to elevators, we are also here today to again encourage you to expand the Access-a-Ride on-demand program, as Kathy referenced. Last month, we came here to testify about the on-demand program and its success in allowing people with disabilities to use our system of public transit and maintain specific schedules for employment. After we shared our testimony with some of our constituents, we heard from many people who are not yet able to participate in the on-demand program, who had not heard about the program from the MTA, had only heard about it from our testimony, and these constituents shared with us all of the ways in which they would benefit from the program and its expansion. People with disabilities in this city are prevented from having consistent schedules for employment, social lives, and any other reason for travel because the on-demand program is limited. Opening up and expanding the program will unleash significant benefit for this city and its people who depend upon consistent transportation. Thank you.
Thank you. The next speaker is Christopher Greif, followed by Jason Anthony.
Good morning, everyone. Christopher D. Greif. Want to wish first happy holidays to all and all a great 2020-24. First, I want to thank our NYPD because this is a message for all disabilities and little kids. When I say little kids, it's even lower than me. Want to say thank you for the safety of the holiday train. You know, the last 2 weeks we had a lot of officers on the train keeping the safety. So I do want to thank our NYPD, and we still have 2 more weeks. And they're actually calling those officers superheroes. So, and that's a really good, happy moment. First of all, I really want to thank the MTA because, first of all, things for the last 6 years, we have gotten things done, and we are going to get things done. But we have to continue advocating, not just Access-a-Ride, not just the railroads, not just the subways, but everything across the board. Planning in the future is our important thing to do. Accessibility is important. Planning is important. We have to continue advocating and still continue advocating to make sure that every station, every bus, every Access-a-Ride is fully accessible today and the next future. We have to continue doing that. And continuing, we must, advocating not just to the MTA, but to all elected officials. To all our elected officials need to hear this clearly. Accessibility is important for disability seniors and our veterans who need it. Also, just to be very clear to all the press who are listening, don't forget disability is part of the reduced fare. Some of us seen that say only mentioning seniors. Yes, seniors are important too, but people with disabilities also should be added in, which MTA has done that. And I thank the MTA so much. I thank our president. I thank our Chief Accessibility so much. And I mean everyone. Thank you and happy holidays to all. Thank you.
Thank you. The next speaker is Jason Anthony, followed by Iris Kelly.
Good morning, everybody. Jason Anthony here. Happy holidays to all. First off, I want to thank our beloved president, Dimitri Chrysler, to be our president of New York City Transit. Is very good to have him in this 2024, despite highs and lows in our transit system, having more elevators in this transit system. It is good to see that Queensboro Plaza, it is accessible already. I want to thank our CND president, Jamie Torres Springer, that it is giving us more elevators, that our chief of accessibility, Kimera Arroyo, has been with us every step of the way. No other system has a chief of accessibility. We should be thankful for that. And it's up to us, the advocates, to be with them every step of the way. And I want to thank Frank and Carol. Every time that we have a complaint on the buses, he has been very respondent every step of the way. I want to thank the incoming chief of Transit, Galuda. Thank you like always. Chief Kemper, y'all been there for years. Thank you. Chris P, excellent job. Keep it up in 2025. This is not the old MTA. This is the new MTA. Happy 2025,
Thank you for your
everybody.
comments. The next speaker is Irish Kelly, followed by Alita Dupree.
Yes, in terms of the assessor ride, I would like to find out about these vouchers, whether they're supposed to be legit or not. Come find out from the recent, now Maggie's trying to tell me they're not, that they're expired. And I know they're not. I got the beginning of this year, I had to clarify that it is true. These are the correct voucher. And they're trying to say that it's supposed to be 2024, some new voucher. I'm going to get discrepancies taken care of with this, what's going on with it. You know, it's not been riding correctly because I'm a passenger has been for many years. With the assessor ride, a while ago, this past month, had one bad incident with them. It's the fact that he was supposed to, I asked him, he came late. He asked me where it was located. He says, on Atlantic Avenue. I said, I'm supposed to be on Flatbush Avenue. Come and get me. He said, I'll come around and get you. No show. Then all of a sudden, like, I find out from the dispatcher saying that he, let me see, second. Then happened I got called to see what happened. And then they said it's no show after I seen him going zoom right past me. So something's not right for driving. Some drivers, I think, they just don't want to pick up their passengers, which I think is a real disgrace. I hope they correct this soon. Thank you.
Thank you. The next speaker is Alita Dupree, followed by Maddie Highland.
Mayor, Item Houses and members. Alita Dupree, for the record, she and her with Team Folds. I'm going to talk about Subway today. I'm encouraged about ridership. I did some simple math, and it looks like Subway is having 80% or so ridership compared to pre-COVID across the board. So this is very good, and I think we're going to get even farther because people are coming back to the Subway. When I make my next trip to New York, I will definitely be returning to the Subway. And I did see the OMNY press conference video. And so we're making it happen. We're making it easier for people to get the reduced fare on OMNY through the use of the plastic OMNY cards. I've been doing the reduced fare on my phone for over a year. So the cards are going to help more people to get involved with that. And I guess I'll get one in the mail for identification purposes. I'll see what happens. How do we keep up with our infrastructure? I read about an unfortunate incident that happened in our subway about a week ago. We need to work on trying not to have something like that happen again. And I advocate for a renewable energy powered subway. I certainly think I would enjoy the subway more if it was powered by wind and solar as my home is right now, including my broadcast to you. And now that OMNY cards are coming out en masse, I think we need to set a date to sunset the Metro card. It's time to go to one system, and this new OMNY system works. So I have some subway background for you. I look forward to hearing what you have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. The next speaker is Maddie Highland, followed by Benji Ross.
Thank you, Mr. Flynn, and good morning, everybody. I'm Maddie W. Bucky's Highland. For today's topic, I'm going to speak about transit and 2024. It is great to have great
You're muted.
Okay, begin again, please. Okay, testing. Can you hear me?
Please continue.
All right, thank you very much. Accessibility, it's great to see projects. founded a metropolitan church back in the 60s. It's not your mother or it's not your father or your grandfather's MTA. It is the new MTA, folks. And the second thing I'll add is that that safety is an important thing, as it's been a roller coaster ride in 2024. As outgoing President Joe Biden once said, as a U.S. Senator from Delaware, crime is like cutting weeds through the grass. So with that being said, everybody, please happy holidays and have a great 2025. Thank you, Mr. Flynn.
Thank you. The next speaker is Benji Ross, followed by Omar Vera.
Good morning, NYCT committee. I'm Benji Ross, an intern with the Permanent Citizens Advisory Committee to the MTA, PCAC. We appreciate the rollout of reduced fare OMNY cards announced last week and look forward to even more affordable access for more New Yorkers. With City Council passing City of Yes, PCAC believes the MTA has an unprecedented opportunity to gain new riders and benefit from the additional revenue they will bring. City of Yes is slated to build as many as 80,000 new homes and encourage transit-oriented development around our city. In a recently released report, PCAC found that these new homes could generate 97,000 new daily transit riders who could provide an estimated $309 million a year in new fare revenue for the MTA by 2039. Recovering ridership from the pandemic and securing additional riders to offset operational costs has been a high priority for the MTA, and City of Yes can be an important catalyst to meet these goals. To capitalize on this opportunity, PCAC has 4 key recommendations as City of Yes is implemented, including 1, work hand in hand with the Department of City Planning and the Department of Transportation to enhance service, especially for bus routes in neighborhoods far from subways and in the boroughs outside Manhattan. 2, monitor which subway, bus, or rail projects require capital improvements in neighborhoods that see the highest growth from City of Yes in future capital plans. 3, adjust service with revenue gained from additional ridership. The MTA should explore using newly gained fare revenue to increase service when needed. 4, make paying the fare convenient and affordable for the commuter railroads by creating a weekly city ticket with transfers to subways and buses and expanding the fare fares to the rails within New York City. In all, City of Yes is an amazing opportunity that the MTA needs to capitalize on to thrive in the coming years. The City Council has done our job. Let's work to better transit New York City. Thank you.
Thank you. The next speaker is Omar Vera, followed by Mark Sacamanga.
Good morning, MTA Transit and Bus Committee. Happy holidays so far. First of all, let me just say the nostalgia train ride, phenomenal. Although I do wish you would have put it on the RT Broadway 7th Avenue line so we get to ride the Redbirds, because the Redbirds are all classics. I miss them a lot, but yes. Second, I do agree with all what you're proposing regarding, and great job for having congestion pricing back on board. That's desperately needed. We need that funds for more of these projects. But I would also recommend, for example, why can't we just put CBTC on the 8th Avenue line and the Concourse line north of Columbus Circle? Signals sometimes fail there too, so we need modernized signals like both uptown and in the Bronx along the I&D lines. Ditto for that for the Broadway 7th Avenue line north of Columbus Circle, because we need signal modernization. One more thing I'd like to recommend regarding the new subway cars you're ordering, the R262, the R268. This may be a long shot, but I'm hoping that that you at least keep the car interiors walls silver, like you have the current R62, R62A, R68, R68A, because I really enjoyed the car interiors. They look, you can see yourself in the reflection in the mirror. I'm gonna, like I said, if you don't implement this, I'm gonna miss the silver walls. The silver walls are a great touch, and I especially enjoy them on the D train and on the 1 line as well. Thank you so much, and Happy New Year.
Thank you. The next speaker is Mark Sacamanga, followed by Robert Whittaker.
Good morning. My name is Mark Sacamagno, and I am a bus operator from Omar Park Depot in Brooklyn for over 13 years. On July 8th of this year, when reporting for work, I got injured in a depot. I spent a week in Lutheran Hospital and 5 weeks in a physical rehab facility. My claim was denied, was contested. I sustained 2 fractured bones in my right foot. I haven't received any money from workers' comp since July. I called my caseworker numerous times a day for weeks and left messages, and she never returned my phone calls. My hearing was on November 25th, and the decision was in my favor. The judge awarded me back pay, and I was supposed to receive it in 10 days, and as of today, I have not received anything. I was lucky to get a hold of my caseworker the other day, and she was very rude to me. She told me, call your lawyer, do not ever call me again. Is this the way that transit treats its workers in physical comp? They want us to get better and get back to work, but my doctor ordered a CAT scan for me the other day, and when the physical therapist and radiologist went for the authorization, it was denied. How am I supposed to get back to work if I'm not getting my treatments? Thank you very much, and have a nice holiday.
Thank you. The next speaker is Robert Whittaker, followed by Gene Ryan.
Good morning, President Criswell, Chairman Holtis, and members of the Transit Committee. My name is Robert Ricker. I'm a local 100 bus operator working and living out of the borough of Brooklyn. I wear many hats. I'm a New York City Transit employee, city and state taxpayer, and I'm a local community board member. I'm here to address a few issues, but none of them are going to be on from the employee side. I'm coming before you to ask that you guys investigate into new OEE policies and workplace violence procedures, because I'm basically the telltale. I've been threatened many times on the job. I've been threatened many times physically and verbally by the public, by our own employees, and also by supervisors. It should not be allowed to have a cookie-cutter investigation where nothing has been addressed, which has happened to me several times, and it's unfair. On to my next issue. Bus operator safety is very much lacking here. Over the years, time and time again, we've heard of that there's supposed to be a bus safety plan, which to no avail has ever come to fruition. I'm calling on New York City Transit Management, the NYPD, to come up with a plan to safeguard our employees time after time. Our bus employees, which are out there for no apparent reason, with a radio that does not work, okay, which leaves us out there in danger. And then when we get injured and assaulted, as you just heard, the workers' comp policies is wrong, and you always focus on the 201 days as an employee works. How can we do that when we're been stymied every which way to get paid while we're getting healthy and getting treatments? It's unfair to those employees. Please treat your come into 2025 as a way to help your employees. Thank you.
The next speaker is Gene Ryan, followed by Annie Pollock.
Hi, I'm Jean Ryan. I'm president of Disabled in Action of Metropolitan New York. I have hearing loss, and a room like this is really hard to see in because I always need to read lips. And there I am. I can only see some of the people. I can see the backs of people, but I can't see the fronts of most people who would be speaking. And there's no assistive listening available when you split the rooms like this. You can only get it in one room. But I don't want to go to the committee room in the other room. I want to go to this committee. So I think you need to come up with a different solution than splitting the rooms, or figure out a way to get assistive listening in both rooms, but then I still don't know how I could hear. I mean, I'd have to be right up there on the other side of the pillar. And I don't really want to be on that side, and you don't want me to be there either. So, but I'm not the only one with hearing loss who comes to these meetings either. So it's a necessity to hear. Thank you on that. So the other thing that I wanted to talk about was Access Ride and getting the right vehicle. When I started riding Access Ride in the 1990s, they would send me a inaccessible vehicle for my wheelchair. Now they've got it together, or they would tell me they didn't have one. Of course, now they have it together and we get the proper vehicle, but then people like me, and there are other people too, who have spinal injuries and bad spines, we can't ride in those big buses because they kill us. And they make us more injured than we already are. So, but when we...
Thank you for your comment.
It gets changed overnight. So you have to
Thank you for your
solve
comment.
that problem. Thank you.
The next speaker is Annie Pollock, followed by Cassie Rafucci.
Okay, good morning, everyone. Andy Pollock for the record, Passengers United. Let's get into the good, let's get into the bad. The only good I can say for this year, being from Queens, is that the 7 train, and hopefully Demetrius will bring this up later today, the 7 train has actually seen one of its best on-time performances in years, which you kind of can thank me a couple of years ago getting federal funding from that 3rd stimulus package. That legislation that was passed in 2021 has made a big difference thanks to President Biden. So I want to thank the president for taking action when he did 3 years ago. Now, unfortunately, the bad. Unfortunately, in the same report, we're going to find out that the Queens Boulevard line, the E, F, M, and R trains are going to have one of its worst on-time performances, especially this morning when we had a signal communication issue. So we need to improve on making the Queens Boulevard line more reliable in 2025. Now, the other bad I want to bring up, there have been some incidents recently. We had another subway surfing incident on the 5 train at Eastchester Avenue back on December 8th. Then on Friday, there was a stabbing on the B41 bus. Then we had a shooting on Hegman Avenue and Boylan Street in Brooklyn yesterday. And then yesterday, also, I want to mention a man was pushed onto the tracks at 34th Street, Herald Square. So I'm going to keep saying it. Safety needs to be the utmost priority in this organization. I'm tired of saying the same thing, but we need to improve on safety in 2025. So I'm going to conclude my remarks, and I expect to speak again in 2025. Have a very happy holiday.
The next speaker is Cassie Rafucci, followed by Ron Mitchell.
This is President Krishlo and Transit Committee members. My name is Cassie Rafucci, and I'm a member of Passengers United. I would like to address a situation taking place at the Delancey Street Essex Street Station in Manhattan on the downtown J train platform going towards Broad Street in Manhattan. There is drug activity taking place at this station. Every time that I travel at this station, whenever I go to the Regal Delancey Street Essex Street movie theater to see a movie, I have to witness and see this activity every time I wait for the J train downtown going to Canal Street. I would appreciate if this situation can be addressed immediately. Thank you very much, and happy holidays and happy New Year 2025 to everyone.
Thank you. The next speaker is Ron Mitchell, followed by Jessica Murray.
As usual, I prepare. Are you able to hear me? Okay, good morning. As usual, I prepare a number of remarks, and I end up going off topic because there are just so many things to address. With regards to everyone who just continues to lauding themselves with the congestion pricing that's about to go to in 3 weeks, I just think it's, again, so insane, Governor and MTA board and all of your supporters, despite how much we do need all of these changes and improvements in capital programs, the fact that if it was going to be a real onus on the public back in June, during the holiday season, how much additional of a burden is that going to put on families? And just thinking about how many people are probably not going to have the holiday they want because they're concerned about what's going to happen in a few weeks. As far as the MTA being the epitome of this management, you go back to 2003, unfortunately, so many people from New York are not from New York, but you guys had multiple sets of books and said, so what? And there was no recourse. As far as maintaining a modicum, even a fair modicum of service, in the Bronx, as you continue to do the bus routes, you promised that there would be 8-minute service or 10-minute service on many routes. You added these articulated buses to several routes so that you could shorten the number or lessen the number of buses run per hour. And with regard to subway service, when there are going to be planned changes in terms of the number of trains you're running, there's supposed to be some notice. Frequently on weekends, what's supposed to be a 10 or a 12-minute headway, you're waiting 15 minutes for a train. And for a train that has 2 terminals, you got to work 30 minutes or more to go to the airport. It's insane. The psychology of why people fare beat is because you have staff who doesn't care or who, despite making $40 or $50 an hour, don't want to, be pleasant. You go to stations like I'm at right now, Interrail Avenue, there are no cameras. And in November 2021, people said there were cameras in every station. There is no camera here. There was no camera for my FOIL request when I had an assault at Dyson Street. And I can tell you guys are really playing with fire. Thank you.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
Thank you for all your help.
Welcome.
The next speaker is Jessica Murray.
Hi, good morning. My name is Jessica Murray. I'm a member of the Elevator Action Group and the Advisory Committee on Transportation Accessibility. I also earned my PhD at the Graduate Center, CUNY, in 2020 in developmental psychology. I studied theories of motivation in relation to accessibility and how it impacts people with disabilities and their well-being. So naturally, I was intrigued when I heard about this $1 million study to understand fare evasion from a motivational standpoint. And I have to say that I think when you get the results back, I hope that you're willing to look at yourself because honestly, I don't think it's that as deep as you think it's going to be. You're going to find that people justify fare evasion because they feel that they're owed something in money or time when service doesn't meet the standards that they should. I want to also echo my CUNY colleague who was here last month to talk about the bus disaster that's happening in Staten Island right now. I'm going out to College of Staten Island once a week to work on an archive of disability rights activism here in New York City. And it takes me 2 hours to get there each way because the bus driver that is supposed to leave at 9 o'clock doesn't wait for people to come off the ferry and get on the bus. He leaves as people are running down, trying desperately to catch that bus. The 9:15 is operationally not existent anymore. Is it still on the schedule? Yes. Do they ever say the 9:15 isn't running? Only when I complain on Twitter. So I've had to wait half an hour during rush hour multiple times. Do you think I might have a reason to justify not paying the fare? Maybe once or twice? I mean, I still do because it's based on my identity. I know that it's important to pay the fare. But I hope that you'll look at yourself because I think there are many better ways to spend $1 million. Maybe stand up a travel training program that we haven't had since before the pandemic that people with disabilities desperately need. I have a lot of other ideas. I'm part of the advisory committee. Thanks.
Thank you. At this time, we ask remaining registered speakers to stand by as we transition to a separate live recording session. Public speakers in the room, please join us in conference room 4. Thank you for your cooperation.
Thank you to all our public speakers. We move on. And now I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes from the November 2024 meeting. JR, do I have a second? Dan, all those in favor? Aye, against? Okay, motion carried, thank you. We move on again. Thank you. Are there any changes to the work plan, Demetrius?
No, Madam Chair.
Okay, you want to move on with your president's report?
Sure thing. So the entire New York City Transit team is closing out 2024 strong. We're going to spend a good portion of time talking through some of the accomplishments today and where we're looking to be for tomorrow as we push forward with our priorities focusing on safety and service. I wanted to start with last Wednesday's service disruptions, which were caused by a substation issue in downtown Brooklyn. This was a significant service disruption with impacts to the A, C, F, and G lines. We remain, as we did the day of, in constant communication with Con Edison, and we're conducting a complete review of what transpired. But I can assure you that the teams across the subways department started the response within minutes. And I just want to take the opportunity to thank the hundreds of employees that responded and spent countless hours working through the night to be able to restore service for the morning. Also want to thank the partners, the FDNY and NYPD, who made sure that 3,500 customers who were evacuated from the F trains were evacuated safely without a serious injury. And our maintenance away teams did an incredible job of restoring service that morning. For our customers who were impacted by this incident, our team was there, stepping up to provide support, assistance, and comfort. One individual whose work went viral was that of conductor Teresa Footman, who was she was on one of the two F trains that required evacuation. Conductor Footman had only been on the job 15 months, but she did an amazing job the entire incident. Not just one customer recognized her work. Several customers spoke to her caliber of commitment, her authenticity, and her going above and beyond to be able to support customers. One customer later said, "Our conductor was great, informative, professional, sympathetic, and with good humor." You never hear that in the middle of an evacuation, right? But that points to the caliber of the workers that we have here. There's no question Conductor Footman's here today with us, and I just want to say thank you for a job well done. Why don't you stand up? Just stand up for that. So last week was a big one for our OMNY program and 1.5 million seniors and people with disabilities who benefit from reduced fares. We are now in the process of upgrading all of our reduced fare riders to OMNY. This is a major transition. 1.5 million OMNY cards are being mailed out to customers, and our customer service center at 3 Stone Street is now able to issue cards directly on demand to new applicants right on the spot. Soon, you can expect to see that we will be rolling out to our mobile sales vans and to our 15 customer service centers in the subway system. Behind it all has been the revenue team. Not one that you hear of frequently. The days of the money train have passed, but the work that they do is still extremely important. That team's led by Mike Alanis, who's been fantastic in leading those efforts. They've processed millions of dollars of bus and subway fares every single day. They are on any given day supporting millions of customers as they refill their cards, tap their devices, or purchase new fare media. Our customers rely on the revenue control to make sure their transactions are smooth and secure, and our system relies on them to safely deliver the fare revenues that we reinvest in running great service. For our reduced fare customers, they have delivered on making the switch to OMNY a reality. I want to thank Mike, Maria Canizaro, Dan Griffith, and the entire team for their amazing work. We've seen real momentum on OMNY this year. We've installed nearly 400 new vending machines. We've successfully introduced student OMNY card, and we're seeing a record high of OMNY usage. On weekdays, nearly 65% of subway riders are tapping. This is huge progress from where we were just a short year ago. Now, bringing reduced fare customers onto OMNY is one of the final pieces of the puzzle. Last week, I had the opportunity to visit the riders and the Rockaways at our December transit talk. This was the most recent in a comprehensive community engagement push to advance the Rockaway line resilience and rehabilitation project. This will disrupt service on the peninsula starting January 20th. Now, this work is critical for rebuilding aging infrastructure and fortifying against future storms like Hurricane Sandy. At the same time, this project will have real impacts on customers. We have to accept that. Riders in the Rockaways already experience and face long trips, and I can tell you that the team is completely committed to providing our 10,000 daily riders who will be impacted by this work with the best possible service alternatives. To do that, we've appointed Hugo Zamora, fresh off his work on the G line, to serve as the transit project lead. We'll be running 2 shuttle bus options to connect riders to the A train at Howard Beach, with trips as frequent as every 4 minutes in the peak. And we'll be using every communication tool in the toolkit to keep customers informed and supported during the outages. We want the feedback. We want to hear what we're doing well on. We also want to hear the things that we need to improve upon, and having a representative that's touching base with all folks within transit, on the bus side, subway side, communications. That's the key to our success in being able to deliver on it to our customers. We continue to make progress in our electric bus deployment. Early this month, in close partnership with the New York Power Authority, we opened new overhead chargers at Charleston Depot in Staten Island. This paved the way for the first ever zero-emission buses to roll out in Staten Island streets. I'm also pleased that thanks to the unpausing of congestion pricing last month, we were able to complete a procurement of an additional 265 electric buses. These buses are better for riders. They replace vehicles that are over a decade old and beyond their lifespans. They offer smooth and reliable rides. They're also better for our communities. Buses are engines of equity in our city, and making our fleets greener does more than just reduce emissions. It makes working class neighborhoods that rely on our bus services healthier and more livable communities. Continue on the theme of rolling stock. Today is a big day for our subway system. Soon, this committee will be voting to exercise the second option to our R211 contract with Kawasaki. Riders on the A and C trains have been big winners in the past 2 years. Today, there are 320 R211s in service and more coming every month. Soon, the entire fleet of both lines will be equipped with CBTC-equipped trains that are ready to one day communicate with wayside equipment for CBTC. And on Staten Island, I'm pleased to share that our R211S has now passed its 30-day in-service test, teeing us up to introduce more new cars on the Staten Island Railway in short order. We're in the middle of a generational upgrade to our subway fleet, and the benefits are huge. The R211 cars are much more reliable than R46s that they're replacing, 5 times as reliable. They feature wider doors, better signage, displays, and crucially, they are equipped with video cameras to improve the safety of our customers and employees. Today's action means that 435 more of these cars will be coming soon to our system, including 80 additional R211T open gangway cars. These new cars are scheduled to arrive in 2027, and with this option, our R211 fleet will eventually consist of over 1,600 cars, which will move our customers in the B division for years to come. Now, for more good news, I'm excited to announce that in the first quarter of next year, we'll be moving at least 2 5-car open gangway trains to the G line. Our G line riders will have a nearly 2 in 10 chance of riding an open gangway car. I could see people geeking out right now. I know you love it. I know you love it. Yeah. It's been great to see New Yorkers come back to transit in bigger and bigger numbers. Just last Thursday, our subway system carried 4.49 million riders. When you think back to the peak of the pandemic, when we were running essential service that our city still needed, but carrying a fraction of ridership, it's amazing to think about how far we've come from that point. Thursday saw another peak in total ridership, 5.9 million riders across subways and bus. So when you talk about the city is coming back, service is coming back, there's no question that we're prepared to handle it. You'll hear more from Frank shortly about how our buses team performed in November. For the third straight month, ridership is up and fare evasion is down, and that is a big deal. 2 years ago, the MTA Blue Ribbon panel on fare evasion gave us the roadmap, and the team has worked since to advance many of their recommendations. On our buses, we followed the panel's advice and dramatically improved our civilian enforcement tactics through our Eagles team. When I stepped into the role as president in June, bus fare evasion had climbed to 50% and showed no signs of slowing down. Make no mistake, this was and is an existential threat to the future viability of transit. We need fare revenue to run safe and high-quality service. There were a number of projects to address fare evasion in motion when I assumed this role. Some we've doubled down on, like gate guards. There's also been some attention recently to a federally funded RFP on this topic. While our recent steps are showing substantial results, the magnitude of this issue means that we want to consider all avenues to tackle it. An RFP is very different than a contract. Very different. RFP, contract. We will not spend one dime on something that does not make sense or add value to this authority. It's Christmas time.
Say that again.
We will not spend one dime on something that will not add value or make sense for the authority.
Thank you.
It's Christmas time, right? Everyone is out shopping, but you don't go out and buy everything you see in the windows of Saks Fifth Avenue, right? It's just shopping. You make, hated us? Okay. Let me be clear. The real behavioral change that is required is needed in the criminal justice system. There continues to be no consequences for people who evade the fare. That is where the behavioral change will have the most significant impact. So we will continue to push that agenda because that is, MTA has done its job. We will continue to do what's necessary on our side. But if the criminal justice system does not support our position, and it does not give consequences to those individuals who are evading the fare, we are spinning our wheels. By reducing the rate of fare evasion, we have recouped additional funding that goes into operations, and if this trend continues, revenues will increase by millions, meeting forecasted projections and giving us more resources to keep the lights on and our buses moving. I want to make it clear that the team and their work over the last month and change, 2 months, has made a meaningful difference in reducing fare evasion. The first downward trend in bus fare evasion in years. So we're going to stick with what we're doing. We know it's working, and we'll continue to update this committee on our progress in the months ahead. Now, we'll turn it over to the operating groups. We'll start with Subways for their report.
Thank you, Mr. President. Board members, guests. There we go. Thank you, Mr. President. Board members, guests. Subway's performance for November. We had an OTP of 82.9%, which was an incremental improvement from the previous month of 0.2%, and year-to-date of 81.8%. It's the second highest OTP for the year. So, and the improvement for the last several months. In terms of weekend OTP, we achieved 85.9%, which again is above the target. Slight dip on the previous month, but year-to-date at 84.2%. CJDP, in terms of the month of November, slight fall from the previous month, driven by the water main break due to the time and location and the impact that had on our customers, took a slight impact upon the OTP. And that, all of that on top of the ridership numbers, which have continued to increase, ensuring that not only are we carrying more of our customers on time to the destination, but also safely as well. That concludes the performance metrics for subways. Thank you.
Good morning. For bus, November performance. So service delivery in bus for November reached 95.3%, just about the same as last November of 23, which was 95.4%. We are about 0.5% short of October, and we're still on par with the same year-to-date average versus last year. Customer journey time, similar to service delivery, was 68.4, which is 0.6% lower than October. Year-to-date speeds are stable and just slightly above 2019 levels. November bus speeds averaged 7.9 miles per hour, matching October. Average weekday paid ridership in November was 1.43 million. That is 7.9% higher than November of 23. And as the President stated, we are seeing conclusive change with fare evasion with all the efforts. September, October, and November were the first months in a year and a half that paid ridership actually increased on buses compared to the previous years. And weekday total ridership in November was 2.77 million. This is 7.5% higher than November of 23. That concludes my bus report. Thank you.
Good morning. For Paratransit for the month of November, performance was strong and relatively steady compared to October and recent prior months. We continue to exceed 95% of trips in the 30-minute on-time performance window and over 90% of trips in our tighter 20-minute on-time performance window, the goal that we continue to drive toward. As with subways and bus, ridership continues to be up. We saw a slight decline in ridership in November as compared to October, but more importantly, comparing 2024 to 2023, we continue to see this continued trend of 15 to 20% ridership increase year over year, and that's something that we're tracking very closely. I thank the team at Paratransit for their continued hard work to maintain this record level of ridership and record level of performance at the same time. It's really quite an impressive accomplishment. And our customers continue to, give us the positive feedback that a lot of the changes we made around the operation are working well. Finally, our call center statistics remain very strong. We have 98% of our calls answered, and even with our ridership increase, by continuing to grow the use of our app and make other efficiency changes to the call center, we are meeting the demand across the board. And that concludes our report for the month of November. Thank you.
No question, January 5th is a historic day for our city. Here at Transit, we are ready for congestion pricing. We're ready for the new riders that will be coming to our system, who make the switch from their cars to mass transit. In fact, we've been making change all along, and anyone that's been riding with us over the last 5 years has seen the improvement that we've made across our modes of transportation, subway, bus, and paratransit. To put it simply, we are focused on running more service, better service, and safer service. At the same time, we're making our system more accessible and improving connections for millions of New Yorkers. Delivering service is our mission at New York City Transit. It's always exciting when we're able to increase service. In the first half of 2025, we'll be doing just that on local and express buses. In March, we're adding more express bus trips to 8 routes. This provides more one-seat rides to and from the Central Business District for residents outside of Manhattan. In our summer pick, we'll make further additions to our local bus network. This investment through the Outer Borough Transportation Account will go towards running more buses and increase bus operator needs. On our subways, we've already added a huge amount of service on lines stretching from Van Cortlandt Park in the Bronx to Coney Island and Brooklyn. Over 4 phases, we've increased service on weekends and during off-peak periods on weekdays. In total, we're now running 1,200 additional weekly trips on 12 subway lines. Combined, these benefits touch 2.9 million weekend riders and over 800,000 weekday riders. The performance data is encouraging. The service delivery team in subways is making good on our commitment to reduce headways by roughly 2 minutes during the time spans of enhanced service. And riders themselves are responding. On Saturday, December 7th, over 3 million customers rode the subway, our best weekend day since the pandemic. If you run good, frequent service, the people will come. And that's exactly what's happening on the subway. We aren't just running more service, we're running better service. The linchpin of this on the subway is CBTC. And 2024 was a big year for CBTC. We activated automatic train operation on the Queens Boulevard line, further leveraging the benefits of CBTC on 4 crucial lines. On the E and M, we've seen real successes here. Weekday running times on the E are down 10% in 2024 and 5% running time reduction on the M. These improvements show the power of CBTC to run faster, more reliable service. Now, reducing running times means customers reach their destinations faster. In a business where every second counts, this is huge for our operations. 2025 will be even bigger. We'll fully optimize CBTC on the Culver line in Brooklyn. We'll complete the 8th Avenue line of CBTC project for the A, C, and E lines. And thanks to congestion pricing, we'll take the first steps towards bringing CBTC to the Fulton and Liberty lines on the A and C in Brooklyn, bringing better service to neighborhoods like East New York, Bed-Stuy, and Ozone Park. Another win for better service has been the introduction of automated camera enforcement, or ACE, on buses. By expanding camera enforcement beyond the bus lanes to double parking and cars blocking bus stops, we're able to unlock huge benefits to bus speeds and reliability. Double parking may seem like an innocent act, but the impact may be enormous on a bus full of dozens of New Yorkers whose trips are now snarled in traffic. It doesn't have to be this way. We see a roughly 5% increase in speeds above what bus lanes and busways already provide with ACE, and we're hoping to move that number higher into the future. It's also a safety win. Keeping bus stops clear is crucial for accessible boarding and for the safety of our passengers and operators. We see a roughly 20% reduction in collisions on routes where ACE is implemented, and this keeps the buses moving as well and saves us money on repairs. To date, ACE is on 34 bus routes and 1,000 buses. Enforcement is happening in all 5 boroughs, and 2025 will be further expanded to more routes and bring these benefits to even more riders. Bear with me, I am winding up, I promise you. We're also focusing on doing the fundamentals really well here at Transit. Having a fully hired team of bus operators is critical. We talked about the service that we're going to be running. Hiring more operators means fewer vacancies, more service delivered, and better service for our riders. This year, the Department of Buses had an ambitious goal of hiring 2,000 bus operators. Working hand in hand with our colleagues at the MTA Human Resources, the team developed an aggressive plan to reach that goal, and the near end of 2024, I'm thrilled to say that we're on track to reach it. Hiring these additional operators will allow us to run excellent service on operations like the Rockaway shuttle, increase bus service, and be ready for the Queens bus network redesign. Bringing system-wide accessibility to our subway is a core goal of the MTA. More accessibility in the system provides connections to customers who have historically been unable to fully benefit from our transit system. Just last week, we opened 2 new elevators at the newly accessible Queensboro Plaza, our 145th accessible subway station. There's more to look forward to with another 36 stations under construction right now. And topping it all off, we are delivering historic elevator performance. Our elevators and escalators team, led by Steve Carson, does an incredible work of keeping our ever-growing fleet of elevators in its top condition. At Transit, we had the ambitious goal for 2024 of 97% elevator availability. Well, in October and November, the team exceeded this goal with availability above 98%. This is the best elevator availability in over a decade, a stat that is especially impressive when you consider that there are 326 New York City Transit maintained elevators in our system today, far more than the last time when we reached this milestone. While we've made huge progress on accessibility, there are still many New Yorkers who rely on paratransit service to get around. In 2024, we had a banner year at Paratransit. We raised the bar on on-time performance to tighten the 20-minute window, better reflecting the needs of our customers. We've made major improvements to our booking process. At the call center, answers times and booking speeds are better than ever and far exceed peer agencies. Our My AAR app is now supporting roughly 20% of all booked trips. This brings real convenience to riders who prefer to book online while freeing up capacity for those who prefer to book via phone. Our broker services, which carry the majority of our riders, have had huge performance gains in 2024. By leaning in on service improvements, we've reduced wait times, increased on-time pickups and drop-offs, and improved the customer experience. We've also moved full speed ahead with new customer improvements like our first ever electric paratransit vehicles and our new Manhattan Assessment Center. When you put it all together, it's no surprise that ridership has reached record levels this year. Paratransit was the first transit mode at the MTA to reach and exceed pre-pandemic ridership. A few notable recent milestones. On December 4th, we had our best weekday ever with 41,838 riders. And just this past weekend, we had our best ever Saturday and our best ever Sunday with overall weekend ridership exceeding 50,000 customers. And at the same time, as we welcome a historic volume of riders, we have held steady with the improved service we outlined below, thanks to the amazing work of Acting VP Rachel Cohen, who's doing just a fantastic job with this entire paratransit team.
Thank you, Rachel.
Knitting everything together is a commitment to safety. I say it all the time, there's no greater priority to me as a president than to ensure that customers reach their destination safely and that our employees head home in the same condition that they arrived to work. To that end, we've taken clear steps at Transit to improve safety, especially in the subway system. In February, Governor Hochul challenged us to install cameras in 100% of our 6,000-car subway fleet by the end of the year. Today, I'm excited to share that we're nearly there and that car equipment led by VP and Chief Mechanical Officer Sue Coe is on track to reach that goal. We're just right there. And there's no question we're going to go. Where are we at, Sue? 99.5%. And we'll definitely be done by the end of the year. These cameras supplement our already expansive station camera network, and they've already helped the NYPD solve several notable crimes. On our platforms, we've expanded our platform barrier project to over a dozen stations, with Flushing Main Street completed over the weekend. In recent weeks, the team has refined the design of these barriers. Now they're constructed of a sleek, reliable stainless steel. We've been encouraged by the initial rollout of stations in this program, and customers appreciate the sense of security that they provide on crowded platforms. We'll be looking to expand this program more in 2025, working with our partners in C&D. This year, we've also expanded our scout teams to respond to mental health challenges in our system. These collaborative teams of MTA PD and trained New York City mental health clinicians have helped New Yorkers to in need receive permanent treatment. Crucially, the continued excellent work of NYPD in our system has driven crime down. Even accounting for an increase in January, transit crime is down 6.3% this year, as ridership itself has grown. This is a testament to Chief Alita and the Transit Bureau, so thank you for your help and your support. As we look forward to January 5th, our team is ready. We'll have leadership from all of our divisions in the field. We've established internal working groups to ensure we deliver exceptional day one service, and we've made real progress delivering more service, better service, and safer service for our city. That completes our report.
Thank you, Demetrius. Great work with everyone here. So thank you on behalf of the Transit Committee. I have a couple of questions, and then JR has a question, Andrew, Dan, and I think David Jones. But Frank, do you have, when you were talking about fare evasion, do you have it broken down on bus by bus lines? Do you have it that level of detail?
We do. I don't have that information with me.
Okay.
We actually break it right down to.
Okay,
with
but
the
you'll
bus
share
stop.
it with us?
Yeah, we can put something together
Okay,
for you,
great.
sure.
Okay, thank you. Andrew?
Yeah, thanks, Demetrius, for a great report. When you were giving your summary on CBTC and how it's advanced on various lines, and you said it's going to be done on the 8th Avenue line, I assume you meant south of 59th Street, not north of 59th Street.
Yeah.
Is that a fair assumption?
Yes.
Thank you.
Dan?
Thank you very much. Demetrius, thank you for that. We are wishing you all the best for continued success here. And I just wanted to make a quick comment and then a question for you about CBTC. First of all, to Conductor Footman, you are an absolute inspiration. That was a very difficult situation that you were in, and you are an inspiration to all of us. When you see somebody doing their job in New York City and doing it well and with enthusiasm and poise and professionalism, I just think we should all be recognizing that. So I just wanted to add my thanks to the president's thanks to you. So thank you very much. And on CBTC, the stats that you had up, Demetrius, about the E and the M, the reductions in 5 and 10%, can you just describe to me what that was? Was that a 10% and 5% reduction in time? I may have missed it.
It's a reduction, and Bill, correct me if I'm wrong, it's a reduction in runtime from end to end for each of those lines. In the CBTC segment, it is a reduction in runtime.
Okay. Let me ask you, so is it fair to expect that if you have CBTC in place across an entire line and not just a section, that those decreases in runtimes would be greater than 5 or 10%? Or is that what we expect for CBTC as a matter of improvement here?
That's a good question. I don't know exactly what we saw when we did the L and the 7. I can get back to you. I think that the one thing we have seen is specifically every time we have a new line roll out with CBTC, we have to change the schedule. It does two things, right? One, it allows you to have what a real runtime is to get from end to end, but it also allows if you have the ability to add additional trains in for service. So you can bulk up the service by adding, because the runtime itself is a lot faster. But I will get the anticipated runtime increases for the line.
Okay, great. And also it seems to me that there would be a commensurate increase in the reliability in that section. Certainly, if you did it across the whole line, it would be much higher reliability. Is there a way that is measured? It seems like I would expect that is already bearing out in the E and the M line. But is there a way to measure that, or have you captured that in any way?
So we did it for the 7. We did a before analysis of what service was running like before CBTC, and then now it's running close to 90% pretty much every day. Queens Boulevard is a little more complicated because there are junctions where the L line and 7 line do not have. So it does mean you're infusing different lines and crossing points. So it's not going to be exactly the same, but the hope is that we will improve. I mean, you know, to the 90%. That's what our target is, to get to 90%, like we did on the 7 and the L line.
And just so I understand, the 90% is 90% reliability. So what does that number
That's
represent?
90% of trains operating as per schedule without delays. And the good thing about the great thing about CBTC is it eliminates a lot of the wayside issues that break down. When switches have issues, when track circuits have issues, the wires go bad. All of those components are less. So less things have the opportunity to break down with CBTC, and therefore you're just focusing on the components that are tied to the CBTC system.
Yeah, I think that's totally right, and one of the most exciting things that's happening around here, and I think it's one that is least understood and recognized by New Yorkers, so I think it's worth highlighting, and I think that the numbers of 5 or 10% don't even, you know, capture how important and how meaningful this will be once broadened and expanded. So anyway, well, thank you for that.
Yeah.
Randy.
Great reports, great success, thanks to all the transit. The 99.8% of the cameras, that excludes the R46s, right? They did not receive any cameras R46s.
Actually, some of the R46s that has not been retired have cameras. The ones that we're retiring, we did not put cameras in them.
Oh, thank you.
David.
Yeah, Demetrius, I'm pleased to see a new focus on bus fare evasion. Obviously, that's the place we're hemorrhaging most, both in terms of the percentages, which are unreal, 50, 60%. I'm particularly, I want to endorse and support the use of unarmed personnel to both avoid catastrophes, either to the enforcement officials or to passengers who get in the line of fire accidentally, you know, which should happen. But I guess I also want to press something I've been pressing now for a decade, that we make sure the enforcement is equitable. It just doesn't focus on poor communities, but takes in all communities. And I think we've all been witness to very fancy people in three-piece suits, or like me, you know, getting through a slam gate. I just don't want to make it focused only on those neighborhoods that have the poorest people. So with that comment, more a comment than anything else, but I applaud the new efforts that are going on.
Great. Go ahead.
So yeah, totally agree. So right now, you know, both in bus and subways, we've made sure that all 5 boroughs are getting the attention that they need. And the team is trying to, what we've been really focused on is good data, right? You know, your ability to be able to really combat fare evasion, you have to have good data to support that. And selecting the locations that have the highest fare evasion and then targeting your response for those locations is, you know, ultimately like our best way of being able to really make a dent. To waste the resources to put them at a location that doesn't see fare evasion rates as high, just wouldn't be a good place for New York City Transit or MTA at large. But you know, in within the next couple coming committee board presentations, we'll talk a lot more on the specifics of fare evasion, particularly some of the progress that we've made. We've been kind of haven't been saying publicly, but we are making some substantial changes and improvement there.
That's why I asked Frank for the, you know, what lines have more of the, anyway, but it's all good work. We're moving in the right direction, which is the good thing. Thank you, everyone. Okay, Demetrius, we're going to hear from our quarterly Transit All-Stars. We're going to hear about our Transit All-Stars.
Yep. So, let's see. Presentation? No. So today we are going to highlight some employees who demonstrate success towards meeting our service and safety goals.
Well, we have to ask about that.
And these employees are truly making a difference. This quarter we have 10 who stood out amongst many. First off, we have computer specialist Brian Riccardi. and Associate Staff Analyst Conrad Wilusko from the Department of Security. They play a supporting role in managing. Would you two just stand up for me? Thank you. They play a supporting role in managing a very important gate guard contract with Allied Universal Security. The role of gate guards has expanded tremendously over the past year with over 1,000 guards throughout the system. They ensure public funds that support this contract are properly invoiced and paid. So thank you so much. You can sit down. Operations Planning Superintendent Harry Beck oversees the unit responsible for managing over 200 subway service plans at any given time. These plans are crucial for coordinated maintenance and capital work occurring on the subways right away, ensuring smooth implementation of subway diversions. We talked about all the work that goes on to make sure that this amazing system continues to operate, and it's folks like Harry that put in the time, work necessary to make sure it's done well. So thank you, Harry. Appreciate it. Next, subway revenue equipment maintainers Michael Massa and Michael Lee are being recognized for the work they did to implement temporary OMNY validated equipment at Howard Beach Station for the Rockaway Viaduct shutdown. They're over there right here. Thank you, guys. A truly challenging moment, and the residents will, without question, love what you guys are doing. Jonathan Sierra is a trained service supervisor who's been dedicated to supporting the transition from the old general order system, UGOS, to the new track access management system platform that will enhance operational efficiency, improve interdepartmental communication, and ultimately provide a better service experience for customers. 100-year-old system, our processes are sometimes just as antiquated. It's folks like Jonathan that continue to push forward on how we implement new and better ways, more efficient ways of doing what we do. So thank you, Jonathan.
Thank you.
Then we have Associate Staff Analyst Carlos Reynoso from Paratransit. He's been a driving force behind a key customer initiative that expedites taxi authorizations for customers using the My MTA web app. Absolutely a revolutionary way of looking at how we do what we do. So Carlos, thank you so much for your work. Superintendent Kelly Gogan and Dispatcher Peter Watts from the Department of Buses for their commitment and dedication to delivering B103 service and address customers' concerns with empathy and efficiency. Thank you, Kelly and Peter. Appreciate you. And last but not least, we touched on this a little bit earlier, Teresa Footman, who's being celebrated for skillfully handling a power loss incident which resulted in lengthy delays across multiple subway lines. Thank you so much for your effort. Before I wrap up, I want to congratulate Pat Imbro, Special Advisor for Agency Initiatives, for her retirement. That's Pat over there in the back.
Pat's leaving?
Yeah.
Wow.
Customer service runs deep for Pat. As a special advisor in the President's office, she oversaw employee engagement initiatives such as the Transit All-Star Program, which we're honored today, to boost employee appreciation for transit. Previously, she was a Senior Director of Strategy and Programs and Assistant Vice President of Strategy and Customer Experience at the MTA. Again, the New York City Transit team would like to express gratitude and congratulations for Pat for her long and distinguished career of service. She will be truly missed. Thank you for everything that you've given, Pat. And that wraps up our All-Stars.
So thank you, everyone, and congratulations. Don't go anywhere. We still have some more reports, and then we're going to take some pictures. Chief, you're on. Thank you.
Good morning, Chair Maltus, President Crishello, and members of the board. You have in front of you the latest transit crime figures, showing the subway system saw 202 crimes during the month of November, which reflects a 15.8% drop or 38 less incidents when compared to November of 2023. This reduction was driven mainly by a drop in both robberies and grand larcenies. When looking at the current year, through the end of November, the system saw 2,002 crimes, which reflects a 6.3 reduction or 135 less crimes compared to 2023. That year-to-date reduction is also driven mainly by a drop in robberies, or 89 less incidents to be exact. Shifting to the enforcement picture, the figures show that your transit officers have been hard at work, proactively confronting all the unlawful conduct in the subway system and throughout the city. Arrests and summonses both show notable increases, and fare evasion enforcement remains robust. Through the end of November, we've had 21,000 more enforcement contacts related to fare beating, a very visible act that can negatively impact the rider's sense of order and safety. Shifting to conduct that can have very serious implications on riders' actual safety. During the months of October and November, the proactive work of your transit officers led to the recovery of 19 illegal firearms. These weapon seizures stem from a variety of interactions, from confronting turnstile jumpers, to those smoking in the system, to those unsafe riding between train cars, to those trespassing in unauthorized areas. This textbook transit policing and the fact that 19 firearms were safely removed before they could do harm to New Yorkers with little to no fanfare is a testament to the fine work and professionalism of your transit workers. Let me take a moment to wish everyone here a happy holidays. In my brief tenure as Chief of Transit, I've learned how important our partnership is to a safe, reliable, and orderly subway system. I look forward to our continued work together in the new year. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief, and thank you for all your hard work, and we value the partnership and the friendship. Any questions for the Chief? See, everything's moving in the right direction. It's all great. All right, thank you. Okay, we move on to Q.
Thank you so much. I want to take an opportunity to further spotlight some accessibility accomplishments from these last very eventful few weeks. First, I am really excited to echo in the celebratory commentaries for a reduced fare program finally being transitioned into the OMNY world. This has been a priority of mine since starting at the MTA, and I'm so pleased for the first reduced fare OMNY cards that were mailed last week to new customers. As I said before, we have close to 1.5 million customers in that ecosystem made up of aging New Yorkers and New Yorkers with disabilities. And while many reduced fare customers opt into OMNY using their own mobile device or card, this will be the first time that all reduced fare customers have access to the benefits that OMNY provides. Reduced fare OMNY gives older adults and customers with disabilities everything MetroCard did and more. I want to thank Michael Enos, Maria Canizaro, Amy Linden, Tim Kaiser, Neo Narayan, and many other people around the agency who worked tirelessly to make this possible. The return of congestion pricing has been an exciting development for our customers, especially our customers with disabilities. We're seeing 23 stations back in progress, with funding for capital improvements like new accessible stations, as well as improved bus and access-ride service we expect to see in Lower Manhattan, with flowing streets, customers moving. Along with the rest of the MTA, my team has been working to ensure all customers and all users of the congestion relief zone are aware of what to expect. Customers with disabilities can apply for the Individual Disability Exemption Plan, or as we call it, IDEP, if they are using private vehicles to drive into the zone. We held our very first webinar on IDEP earlier this month and are planning another one dedicated to IDEP specifically on December 23rd. This is in addition to the many other webinars that are occurring to build awareness of congestion pricing, all of which can be found online. The exemption for customers with disabilities was included in the original legislation, and we want to ensure all eligible customers are aware of IDEP and the other discount programs, part of congestion pricing. Lastly, I want to follow up on Queensboro Plaza becoming the latest accessible subway station. Queensboro Plaza is an incredibly important transfer point for our Queens customers, and the construction of the elevators was no small feat, with a more than 2,000 square foot mezzanine extension built over the entrance to the Queensboro Bridge. I want to thank Jamie and the entire team at CND for making this possible, and all of our partners at E&E, which I know we'll be celebrating tomorrow with some awards, but really the work that we do to build elevators is complementary and only made even better by the E&E team led by Steve Carson, who are really doing a Herculean job, as Demetrius mentioned, delivering higher than expected elevator availability system-wide. So thanks to all the teams, and I am, with that, happy to close.
Thank you, Q. Great work. Any questions for Q? Okay, thank you. If not, we're going to move on to Lou. You're the star of the show today, Lou.
Thank you. It's quite an honor. Good morning, everyone. As the New York City Transit procurement package includes one action this month. As previously mentioned by President Critchlow earlier this morning, this action is a request for approval of a modification to the base contract R34211 awarded to Kawasaki for the exercise of Option 2 for the purchase of 435 R211 cars at an estimated price of $1.27 billion. Under this option, Option 2, 350 closed-end cars and 80 open gangway cars will be designed, built, and configured in 5-car operating units. In January 2018, the board approved the base award contract to Kawasaki to deliver 535 R211 cars in total. That was comprised of 440 closed-end cars, 20 open gangway cars, and 75 cars for Staten Island Railway. The contract includes 2 options. Option 1 for 640 cars that was approved by the October 2022 board, and this Option 2 for 435 cars, which we would like approval to execute now. The pricing for the option cars is subject to an adjustment formula resulting from changes in labor and material cost indices, currency exchange rates, and other factors already agreed upon and included in the base contract. The option pricing was considered fair and reasonable at the time of award in 2018. Therefore, Option 2 pricing escalated according to indices and adjusted to reflect currency changes already included in the base contract. Delivery of cars under this option is anticipated to start in 2007 and be completed, I'm sorry, I made the same mistake when I briefed Demetrius the other day, 2027 and be completed in 2028. I submit this procurement for board approval. Thank you.
Lou, before we take a motion, talk to me about the currency exchange rates. What?
We have pre-established formulas in these in these contracts anticipating the execution of the exercise of options. There are a number of elements that would influence the price over time, labor being one of them. I'll use an example. You know, a heavily used material would be metals. There are indices for all of those, and a number of others as well, currency being one. So utilizing the indices in a formula, right, we would take into account the changes in those indices from when the base was awarded to the exercise of the option. So the base price was acceptable, fair and reasonable. An option price was established at that time as well, and then to that option price, the formula would be utilized to determine a contemporary, a current price.
Got it. Understood. Any questions for Lou? Andrew?
I'm not sure it's for Louis, might be for Demetrius, actually.
Demetrius.
When former transit president Rich Davey was here, he stated that he would only utilize the open gangway R211s on local trains. Are you still with that frame of mind?
So the new R211, new R211s will come with a couple different nuances that the current cars do not have.
The open gangways will have nuances?
Yes.
Oh.
So the intent is to use them at various lines. Right now we only have the 20 cars. Right. These additional 80 cars are intended to be used throughout the system to get a better sense of how they'll perform on different lines, different outdoor, indoor, different curves in the system. You know, the way we use our cars are different. So that's to get a real good sense of how to use them.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I just want to check on quorum before we take a vote. We got quorum? Oh, you're checking. Okay. Oh, Mira, are you guys on the phone? Can they vote, though, on the phone? Yeah, exactly. So there's only 1, 2, 3, 4 of us. Hold, please. All right, we have quorum. Sorry, Sammy, I didn't know that you were. I had a chat. I apologize deeply. Front window shopping. My God, I wish. Anyway, now, okay, so can I have a motion to move so moved? Second, JR. Okay, all those in favor? Aye. Against? Okay, motion carries. Congratulations. Good moment for the MTA. I guess that's the end of our meeting today. Have a motion to adjourn. JR? David? Okay. Everyone, please, why don't we take a moment to take some pictures with our great Transit All-Stars. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.